One of the biggest challenges that interfaith couples face is having children. Not only the general issues about how to raise children, but specifically with the birth of a child. If it's a boy, they have to instantly make a decision about whether they're going to have a circumcision, and not only if they're going to circumcise their child, but if they're going to have a brit milah, that is the ceremony of circumcision, which is a religious ceremony that then gives their son a Hebrew name and welcomes him into the Jewish community. So the most important thing that interfaith couples need to do is to make these decisions in advance. They need to talk through, if we have a son, what are we going to do? What are the implications? Should we circumcise? Should we not? And frankly, it's one of those areas where people really need to be honest with their feelings. It's important for the Jewish person in the couple to share what his or her emotions, what their feelings are about circumcision. If it happens to be a Jewish husband, a Jewish father having a son, very often there are very deep connections that I want my son to be like me. And as I was circumcised and my father was circumcised and my grandfather was circumcised, sometimes it's that alone that pushes the Jewish man to say, I want my son to also do that so that we are similar, so that we're alike, so that my son doesn't go, how come daddy, how come we're different? Then there's the whole sense of history that Jews have, that this has been one of those distinguishing marks, literally, physically and spiritually and symbolically, that has been a part of Jewish tradition and Jewish custom and Jewish history and Jewish civilization for literally thousands of years. It was literally in the Bible, in the Torah, the very first commandment that the first Jew, Abraham, received from God in Jewish tradition, which was to circumcise his son. And so there's a lot of very deep-seated emotions within the Jewish community that circumcision is the equivalent of being a part of the community. So there isn't an easy answer to whether you should or whether you shouldn't, whether you do or whether you don't, but most importantly is to make those decisions together, to be willing to confront your feelings, to be willing to be honest with your own fears and anxieties about what it represents, and then to work those through together. Go to a counselor if you need to. That's why it's best to do this in advance, so you're not under the pressure of, oh my God, we just had a son, we have to decide today, we have to call a moil. That's the ritual person who does those circumcisions, which, by the way, if you're going to have a circumcision, I recommend that you use a moil because that is their specialty and they do them every day, and so they really do them well. Because the other option is, of course, you can have a circumcision in a hospital, and then you can have a baby naming just like you would with a girl without any kind of surgery. You can do that in a home, you can do that in a synagogue. We have them at my synagogue in Pacific Palisades all the time. Let me just tell you that although there isn't a right answer to it, the right answer is really the process and the approach. That when you make this decision, you sit down together, you share openly and honestly your feelings, you share your fears about what will happen if you do or if you don't, and then you come to an agreement together. And then you have to confront your own parents and the grandparents of the child with united front. And if you do that, then it doesn't matter which decision you make, the decision will work out for you.